All right, I want to bring in Evelyn Farkas now. She is the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Russia, Ukraine, and Eurasia. I certainly appreciate your time, Evelyn. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Natasha.
Let's talk about these generals first. No sight of them since the attempted Wagner revolt. Do you believe that Vladimir Putin is purging his military ranks?
It's very likely, Natasha. He basically was shown to be off guard, unprepared, out of the loop last Saturday when this revolt occurred. And the revolt was, of course, aimed at his top military and defense command, but you make no mistake, it was obviously questioning his decision making and his authority as well. And so Vladimir Putin has to crack down if he's going to reassert control. The elites around him, have smelled the blood in the water, and he has no choice. The only thing I would add is that he may be going a little slowly and cautiously because there is some support for some of these men, not Gerasimov, but Prigozhin certainly, and Surovikin as well, I think.
Interesting. And we're hearing tens of thousands of people could be interviewed about the failed revolt. Is that what you're hearing as well? And what could the result of those interviews be? More disappearances? What are you expecting?
Well, I think, Natasha, there'll be disappearances and then reappearances where people are, in jail, where they're facing indictment and, some sort of semblance of a court process, or maybe not even. Essentially, Vladimir Putin has said that this was treason, this revolt. So anyone with any connection to it, and frankly, anyone who didn't warn the president, probably is now on high alert and is in the sights of the president for a purge.
Putin also made a rare public appearance earlier this week, and we saw this video released to us by Russia. We see crowds adoring him, wishing him good health and to live to 100 years old. What do you see when you look at this video? Is it clearly propaganda? Is the timing suspect?
Yeah, I think it's propaganda. The timing is suspect. It's an attempt to put a different picture in front of us than what we saw last Saturday, which was crowds cheering Prigozhin and not Vladimir Putin. There were no crowds, calling for the president to take control or to come speak to the people. And so this is Putin trying to create the impression that he is popular. I also find it hard to imagine that in Dagestan he's terribly popular. That's where this photo is coming from, this video, because he's taken men from Dagestan several times, recruited them for the war in Ukraine, and at least twice that we know of, the women in Dagestan tried to block the recruiters from making their way into the city. So this is not an area where he's actually really popular. So I suspect it's staged.
The leader of the Wagner Group, Prigozhin, he did go free after agreeing to leave for Belarus. What do you think at this point is likely in his future? You mentioned that it is a delicate situation, as he does have quite a bit of support in some areas.
Well, Natasha, the thing is, we actually don't know whether Prigozhin is in Belarus, because I don't think we have seen any video of him or any real signs that he's actually physically in Belarus. We only have the word of the Belarusian leader, Alexander Lukashenko, and of course the Russians. So I'm not entirely convinced. I think we need more evidence. But if he is in Belarus, I think they will look for a way to also eliminate him. Frankly, I don't know quite how much longer he'll live, but if he's useful to the Kremlin and he's useful and he's indeed in Belarus and he's useful to the Belarusian leader, then he can stay alive a little longer. But I think at some point, the Russian leadership, Vladimir Putin, will want to take revenge.
We saw a Russian missile strike hit a pizza shop in Ukraine this week, killing 11 people there. What are you tracking in terms of an immediate future for this war? If we are seeing Putin starting to purge his own military ranks and assert power at home, how is he going to reassert power in this war?
Yeah, Natasha, so far it hasn't had a big impact. The revolt hasn't had a big impact on the battlefield. And what we need to do is really what most U.S. and European officials have said, focus on helping Ukraine. There's an urgent need for longer range artillery. We need to get weaponry to the Ukrainians faster. They don't have sufficient air cover. Their big thrust of the counteroffensive still hasn't started. And I think we need to really focus on helping them with that. Of course, the Russian disarray at the head of the political leadership and in the military will help the Ukrainians, but it's not enough for them on the ground.
Okay. Evelyn Farkas, appreciate your insight and time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.